Arthur Conan Doyle's book, A Study in Scarlet, is a detective novel that introduces the character of Sherlock Holmes, a brilliant and eccentric consulting detective who solves crimes with his friend and biographer, Dr. John Watson. The novel was published in 1887 and is the first of the many Holmes stories. In this video, I will give you an overview of the plot, setting, theme, and everything else you need to know about the book, except the ending. Don't worry, I won't spoil the surprise for you. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Buffnat Bookworks channel, where I talk about all things related to books and literature. Today I'm going to review one of the most classic and influential novels by the British writer Arthur Conan Doyle. It's called A Study in Scarlet, and it was first published in 1887. It features his most famous and beloved character, Sherlock Holmes, who is a brilliant and eccentric consulting detective who solves crimes with his friend and biographer, Dr. John Watson. A Study in Scarlet is a detective novel with elements of mystery, suspense, and drama. It's also a novel that introduces the conventions and elements that have become icons of the detective fiction genre, largely due to Conan Doyle's influence. It is set in London and Utah in the late 19th century. There are two main parts, each with a different narrator and a different style. The first part is narrated by Watson and follows the investigation of a murder case by Holmes and the police. The second part is narrated by an unnamed third person and tells the backstory of the murderer and the motive. The two parts are connected by a common theme and a common clue, the word RACHE, which means revenge in German. The story begins when Watson, who is a wounded veteran of the Afghan War, meets Holmes, who is looking for a roommate to share a flat at 221B Baker Street. Watson is fascinated by Holmes, who is a master of observation, deduction, and disguise, and who has a vast knowledge of various subjects but also some eccentric habits and hobbies. Watson agrees to move in with Holmes and soon becomes his friend and assistant. One day, Holmes is contacted by Inspector Lestrade and Inspector Gregson, two detectives from Scotland Yard who ask for his help in solving a murder case. A man named Enoch Drebber, an American, has been found dead in an empty house in Brixton, with no apparent cause of death, no signs of struggle, and no weapon. The only clue is the word RACHE written in blood on the wall. Holmes and Watson go to the crime scene, where Holmes examines the body and the surroundings and finds several clues that the police have overlooked, such as a ring, a pillbox, and a woman's wedding dress. Holmes also deduces that the murderer is a cab driver and that he has an accomplice who is also an American. Holmes then sets a trap for the cab driver by placing an advertisement in the newspaper claiming that he has found the ring that belongs to Drebber. The cab driver, who is named Jefferson Hope, comes to claim the ring and is arrested by Holmes and the police. Hope confesses that he killed Drebber and his accomplice, who is named Joseph Stangerson, and that he did it for revenge. He then tells his story, which is the second part of the novel. Hope's story takes place in Utah in the 1840s and 1850s, where he was a pioneer and a prospector. He fell in love with a young woman named Lucy Ferrier, who was the daughter of a friend of his, John Ferrier, who had adopted her when she was a child. John and Lucy were members of the Mormon Church, which had a strong and oppressive influence in the region. John and Lucy were forced to marry members of the church against their will. John was killed by the Mormons, and Lucy was married to Drebber, who was a cruel and abusive man. Lucy died shortly after the wedding, and Hope swore to avenge her. He followed Drebber and Stangerson, who were also Mormons, across America and Europe, until he finally caught up with them in London. He killed them by forcing them to choose between two pills, one of which was poisoned with a deadly substance. He wrote RACHE on the wall to make the police think that the killer was German. A Study in Scarlet is a novel that explores the themes of deception, greed, justice, and truth. It also reflects the historical and social context of the time, when the world was recovering from the aftermath of the First World War and facing the rise of modernity and technology. It shows how Conan Doyle was influenced by the works of Arthur Conan Doyle, Edgar Allan Poe, and G.K. Chesterton, and how he challenged and surpassed them. It also demonstrates his skill and genius as a writer, who could create a masterpiece of suspense, logic, and psychology. A Study in Scarlet is a book that will keep you hooked and fascinated as you follow the twists and turns of the plot and the clues and red herrings that Holmes and Watson encounter. It's a book that will challenge your mind as you try to solve the mystery and to understand the motives and actions of the characters. And it's a book that will surprise you as you discover the secrets and revelations that await you at the end. If you're a fan of Arthur Conan Doyle, or if you're looking for a smart and thrilling read, I highly recommend you to check out A Study in Scarlet. You won't regret it. That's all for this book, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more book reviews and discussions. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of A Study in Scarlet, and what other books by Arthur Conan Doyle you would like me to review next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Good day.